asking the questions for Mr. Kennedy on behalf of parents and schools and teachers all over the United States of America who deserve so much better than your leadership. That's what this conversation is about, Mr. Chairman.
Senator, they deserve the truth, and that's what we're going to give them for the first time in the history of that agency.
Explosive Senate hearing with RFK Jr. in the hot seat today, but as you saw there, he rose to the occasion and threw the flames right back. This is DC Dispatch. I'm Kristi Leigh. We've got extended coverage of HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s testimony. Our Allison Steinberg is showing us the action inside and outside of the hearing. She's been spending all day there. Plus, the latest economic news and election security progress. But first, we are going to dive right in with our first guest. Green Beret trained Michael Yan has had decades of global experience, traveling to more than 80 countries to cover world events. He's joining us now, running on fumes, to bring us the latest major global news. I'm so sorry. I know I heard you didn't get much sleep. What are you working on right now?
Oh, just many things. Actually, I'm in Okinawa right now. Woke up this morning watching F-15s take off and land, Japanese F-15s. And because this is, a big strategic place here, Okinawa. But actually got word today, too, that President Molino from Panama is actually here in Japan. And so, which is significant. We spend so much time down in Panama because is so significant. I mean, I've spent personally about a year in Panama since Biden was installed. I mean, if I'm spending that much time there, I only go to places that are very important. And now I'm in Okinawa, but Molino is here in Japan. Japan is the number 3 customer through the Panama Canal. Number 1 is the United States. Number 2 is China, and number 3 is Japan. And right now, China is still working on bridge number 4, something I've talked about many times. So they're working to complete, Chinese bridges have a habit of collapsing pretty often, but they're actually building a significant bridge right over the canal right now, Panama Canal, and it's going to land right at the Hutchison port, one of the ports that BlackRock tried unsuccessfully to buy, but that is leased out to the Chinese Communist Party. So that bridge lands right at that port at Balboa. I'm there all the time. Misako Ganaha is there all the time. We're in Japan together now because, this is, we're looking at the global routes and resources, everywhere we go, whether it's Netherlands or Strait of Malacca or whatnot. We're watching this global thing unfold. It's quite fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for being there to bring us the latest as far as all of that goes. As far as global conflict goes, Trump has really tried to sell himself as the president of peace. But despite efforts, we seem to have a lot of ongoing global conflicts. What do you make of this most recent strike against Tren de Aragua?
Suspicious. I mean, Tren de Aragua is obviously very dangerous. I mean, Misako and I have, and Ann Vandersteel and others, I've taken 60 or 70 people into the Darien Gap, right? So I have watched a lot of Tren de Aragua come through, as have the rest of the people that I've brought. And so, I mean, I don't want them in the United States, that's for sure. But what happened here is suspicious to me. Of course, we can't trust anything coming out of the military. Unfortunately, we can't trust anything coming out of Trump. I have no idea what happened to that boat. Obviously, something happened to a boat on a screen. I don't even know I have no idea if it's even real. I just have no idea. So, we have to start at first principles. What do we actually know? What we actually know is President Trump said they blew up that boat. And so what, did it have drugs in it? I don't know. Why did it have so many people if it was running drugs? It's just weird. Now, this is not obviously about stopping drug flow to the United States at all. I mean, that would be the last thing you'd do, would be to mess with boats like that. You would be doing bigger stuff, right? And there's a lot of things that can be done. This is about routes and resources. Venezuela is rich, incredibly energy rich. One of the richest countries on planet Earth is Venezuela. which a lot of people don't seem to know. But it's not capitalizing on its own wealth because it's Venezuela. But right next to Venezuela, of course, is Guyana. And if you look at my notes from 2016, I've just got a circle around Guyana. I mean, I've been watching it since then, realizing that this place is going to end up in action between Guyana and Venezuela, because there's a lot of energy off in Guyana's waters as well, right? Now, all this, for instance, Venezuela, I mean, they are developing and have been working on, I've talked about this, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, drone technology from Iran, China, and Russia right there in Venezuela, right? I mean, because keep in mind, Venezuela is part of SCO, Shanghai Cooperative Organization, right? So, which is like the sort of enemy NATO, let's say. So that would include the two official languages of SCO are Mandarin and Russian. Members include, obviously, China, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and Russia, Pakistan, India, Iran, right, and Venezuela. There's quite a few others, right, and so that's it's a significant organization, and it's growing in influence. It's related with the BRI, the Belt and Road Initiative. It's not exactly the same, of course, but they do have a lot of overlap. At the end of the day, Venezuela is very important. The Monroe Doctrine has long been dead. I hear Americans talking about the Monroe Doctrine right now as if it's still an ongoing thing. I don't know when it died exactly, but it's long gone. There is no Monroe Doctrine enforced. It's just words. For instance, China is moving in heavy in places like Ecuador, Panama, and many other places, in places that Masako and I have gone extensively in the last 4 years. We've been to 30 countries just in the last 4 years looking at this, all over Europe, many places in Asia and South America. There's huge wars that are unfolding. But keep in mind, they're nothing new. The things that you're seeing now, especially for those students of history who really have spent the years looking, and developing a base of knowledge on historical aspects of this. This goes back at a minimum many centuries. At an absolute minimum, it goes back to the 1400s. And so, of course, when Columbus came, and ran into Cuba and thought it was Japan, that sort of thing. But I mean, this whole, this would take like 2 weeks to explain. But in a nutshell, what we're watching is the latest bloom in an ongoing huge oligarchical power struggle over routes and resources. One of the major routes in the world is Panama, and Venezuela, right next door, or very close to it anyway, is just unbelievably rich. And the whole region is unbelievably rich, actually. So I think eventually we're likely going to see conflict in places like actually even Haiti and Cuba. I would not doubt it eventually that the United States is involved in Cuba. I haven't seen any indication of that, actually. But some of these things like Venezuela, this isn't a surprise to a lot of us, because a lot of us have been saying, this showdown is going to come with Venezuela, and it'll likely spread. Nicaragua, of course, will be deeply involved, as will Cuba. And keeping in mind, this is very important, Venezuela does not stand alone. Venezuela stands right there with China, Russia, Iran. I mean, they can launch some serious drones. They can look at how the Houthis have shut down the Bab al-Mandeb, which again is one of the most important naval chokeholds in the world, is Bab al-Mandeb. So a bunch of guys in sandals were able to shut that thing down, right? And it would not be difficult to do similar with the Panama Canal. Now, keep in mind, China doesn't want to shut down the Panama Canal. They could do it easily. Many people could shut down the Panama Canal easily, but China doesn't want to do it because they're the number 2 customer through there. They want the Panama Canal open. We obviously want the Panama Canal open. Japan wants it open. And I don't actually see Iran going for it. I mean, they could, but, I keep seeing information. One of the things, I study information war. I've written 3 books on information war. Unfortunately, they're only in Japanese, but the information war, I've never seen any conflict begin without first radiating information. I mean, just radiating that something's about to happen. Like, for instance, my circling Guyana in 2016. like 10 years ago. Clearly, I could see it back then that something was cooking. And likewise, we can see that in this region. There's clearly, at some point, we're going to see serious conflict in the Gulf of America, let's call it. And people can call it whatever they want. It's a big, big place. It's going to see some big battles. It's seen many battles in the past between the Spaniards and the English and the French, and everybody's fought there before, and they're going to fight there again.
Interesting. Some of what you were talking, we were showing all of the charts of all of the different money flows between some agencies, the USAID and other agencies wrapped up with Venezuela, and there's also been some exposure on connections with Venezuela and the control of our election machines. Is there anything new? Do you think we'll ever reach a point to where that's fully exposed?
I think that's not what it's about. I think this is about routes and resources. I mean, it's clear that there's, a lot of allegations about the voting machines, and I think those are credible allegations, actually. But we could change the way we do the voting, right? I mean, there's other things that we could do. But at the end of the day, this is about routes and resources. Almost every single war you've ever heard of in your whole life is about routes and resources. Like the thing going on in Israel now with Gaza, that's not about October 7th. That's about routes and resources. That's why Israel even exists there now, is because of the Suez Canal, right? And of course, Gaza, there's a lot of gas off of Gaza. There's a big desire to build the Indo-European corridor from Mumbai, eventually through Israel. Ben Gurion Canal. I mean, this is about routes and resources. The Caspian Sea, you see the things going on up there with Armenia and others. I've got books on the Caspian Sea from the 1700s where they were doing the same thing that they're doing now with the same players. And we're the same bears fighting over the same rivers and the same caves. I mean, literally, if you read old history books, the only thing that's really changed is the weapons that we're using and the communication systems. But otherwise, it's about routes. Now, the Panama Canal didn't exist 300 or 400 years ago, and neither did the Suez Canal. So we were fighting over other routes and resources. Some have remained the same. For instance, Strait of Hormuz or Strait of Malacca. People have been fighting about those for, I don't even know when that started. I don't know if anybody knows when that started, but it was ongoing in the oldest history books I can find. There was fighting in, for instance, look at the Mediterranean with the Romans or the Venetians or the Genoans or the Pisans. I mean, these things, it's a never ending story. Humans fight over routes and resources.
What do you think should happen? And I mean, I know you're not a big fan of Trump, or at all of a fan of Trump. What do you think he should be doing amidst all of this infighting over these routes and resources?
Well, I've seen how he's handled other conflicts, and I'm not confident in him. So therefore, I would prefer that we wait until serious people are in office. But we are eventually. I mean, it's quite clear we're going to end up in conflict. I mean, how it's going to unfold, I don't know. But everybody's at the table. For instance, Panama. Panama is one of the most important little pieces of land on earth. The Panamanian president is in Japan right now. It's on his Twitter today, on his X, President Molino, right? And in fact, Masako and I and our Burning Edge team, we're the ones who set the conditions in Panama so that he could get elected. I mean, we spent a lot of time. We kept pointing out what's happening with the invasion in the Darien Gap and the diseases that it's bringing in to Panama, like multi-drug resistant tuberculosis and so many other things. And the Panamanians finally got angry because we were getting a lot of the work translated into Spanish. And so then Molino ran. I've never met Molino. I've never talked with him, but we were working hard to set conditions so that somebody would run on a platform of closing the Darien Gap, which at least, actually, I got word from the Darien Gap today. There's still a little bit of flow coming through, maybe 30 a day. It's not like it was, but we spend so much time down there. But at the end of the day, what's going to happen? There's going to be a fight for Panama, clearly. Chinese keep moving in. Chinese keep investing more. Now, a lot of Americans seem to think everything is solved in Panama because Trump said, "Hey, we're taking it back," but it's not been done. However, we are cooperating a lot more with the Panamanian, not really military, but what's called Front, which is very professional but small and lightly armed. I mean, they don't have even mortars, they don't have any cannons or missiles or anything like that. They have a few small machine guns, and that's it. Not even 50 cals, right? Just very small arms, and they don't have enough helicopters or any of that sort of thing. I'm out with them all the time, and they're very serious people, very professional people, but very unarmed. And I mean, relatively speaking, they do get into a lot of shootouts down there in the Darien Gap, but with drug dealers actually. But the United States is clearly starting to cooperate with them more. We're clearly putting more actually forces down there and more gear to increase our work with the Front. But Panama, that's going to be a fight. Russians got a huge embassy down there. I drive by it all the time. The Chinese are, the Chinese, their plan is not to attack and take. That's not how they generally roll, right? How the Chinese try to become the enemy. They try to just move in and grow over it slowly like kudzu. Now, of course, in Tibet, where I've been, they went kinetic and then they tried to grow over it like kudzu. They're still having a problem because a lot of the Han Chinese don't want to live up in Tibet. And if you've ever been to Tibet, you can understand why they wouldn't want to. But I mean, it's a cool place to visit. It's a cold place to live. And likewise in Xinjiang, with the Uyghurs, the Chinese, they do kill a lot of people, but they generally try to just become that, right? So they just try to, it's interesting. Masako recently found a book from 1941 by a Japanese military officer, and he talked about this trait this is 1941, Japanese military officer. He's talking about this trait of the Chinese, how they don't even care if they lose land. They'll just try to stay there, and they'll just marry into their invaders, right? Because they look at the land coming and going to them as like the tides. They'll get it back later after. And this Japanese officer said this. Masako has been translating the book into English so I can read it, but because it's in Japanese. But he talked about how in the Japanese military army officer in 1941 talks about how the Chinese hope that the enemy who takes it will actually use their money to build it up. So when we take it back, it'll be built up for us. I mean, China doesn't want to destroy the Panama Canal, right? I hear a lot of people say, well, they can build that bridge over the canal and collapse it on purpose. China wouldn't do that. It may collapse because China builds stuff. I mean, how often do you see Chinese bridges collapsing? All the time. Chinese, look, you see the earthquake months ago in Bangkok, and most of the buildings did fine, but the brand new Chinese building collapsed, and it was a government building for the Thai government, right? I mean, most of the buildings in Bangkok, perfectly fine. China on the floor, right? And if you look up Chinese bridge collapse, Google it, you'll be reading for the rest of the night all the bridges that collapse around the world. Like brand new, they're just building it, or people going over it with goats, it collapses, all kinds of stuff. And they're building it over Panama Canal. They wouldn't do it on purpose, in my view, because they're pragmatic. They want the Panama Canal working. I mean, and they want to control. Our Navy uses the Panama Canal too, by the way, right? It opened in 1914. It's very important for us in our military projection. But another very important matter that I think very few people understand is that Japan, where I'm at now, is the third biggest customer through the canal. And China, I know what China's up to. I've written about this for years. I've been all over China. What China is up to right now, they're doing a huge information war against Japan. I've been writing about it for many years. And again, wars always radiate information. And I've been watching this radiation, practically getting a suntan from it, and going to museums all over China, that sort of thing. And but what China will do, this is what I think that they'll do. What I think that they'll do is they'll use their information war to end up getting Japan into court for World War II issues, and they'll get judgments against Japan. And then they will, once China has enough influence in Panama, which they're getting it, then they can use Japan's transit through the Panama Canal as leverage to squeeze Japan for money. Right now, I'm in Okinawa right now. Okinawa is China is running a big information war here to try to get the Okinawans to think that they're Chinese. They're trying to get them to hate the Honshu, the other Japanese and other parts of Japan. I mean, the Chinese are actually quite good at information war, and the Japanese are very good at a lot of things except one, and that's information war. The Japanese, if there's one thing they just can't do, if white guys can't dance, Japanese can't do information war. They don't try. They're not really natural liars. You know what I mean? And so they're just not good at it. And I've told the Japanese government Ministry of Foreign Affairs many times, you need to invest in an information war, at least a defensive information war, because China's they're mopping the floor with you, and it has serious consequences. The information war that China sponsored between Korea and Japan ended up in court decisions, which I was predicting in about 2014, 15, 16, 17, and then it came true in 2019. I wrote 3 books about it. That's how much I predicted it. I mean, that it ended up in court. These World War II information claims. Keep in mind, in World War II, Korea was part of Japan. Not to go down that rabbit hole, but that's not even a rabbit hole. That Korea was part of Japan, period, full stop. Just like Texas is part of the United States, right? And a lot of people have said, I've said that in the past, and people go, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. It's not even close. I'm like, actually, it's about that close. It's about Korea was part of Japan, period. Since 1910, there were generals in the Japanese army that were Korean, right? There were elected officials, armed policemen. I mean, they were straight up Japanese citizens, just like Texans are American citizens, right? And so then, of course, on August 15th, 1945, the end of the war, Korea was off again, right? So what I'm getting to is the information war against Japan was sponsored by China to try to split our relations. There's a very important defense triangle between Korea, Japan, and the United States. It's very important. And Japan's been trying to split that. China has been trying to split that between Japan. So they focused on Korea, Japan, and it worked. They just kept hitting it for several decades, right? And since the mid 80s, right? And so it worked. And so finally in 2019, court decisions, and then they back into court in 2020. Anyway, long story short, big judgment against Japan. They stopped. Then Korea and Japan stopped sharing intelligence together, stopped doing military exercises together. That's the power of information war. It is very powerful. It's the biggest, the number one weapon in warfare is information war. Like us talking into these microphones. This is it.
Yeah, we've all experienced it,
right?
On some level, for sure. Michael, before I let you go, I just wanted to say, since you have a tap on so much that's going on globally, I don't know if you heard anything about this story in a different part of the globe. In Germany, there's this strange story of right-wing politicians that are dying, like 7 of them within a 2-week period. And it's causing some people to raise eyebrows. Have you heard anything about that or have any intel on that stories that's coming out?
I mean, I first got that note from an intel friend and then a few others, but I mean, it appears to be true. Who done it? I mean, obviously that would be a pretty mini Sigma event if they just all died suddenly. You know what I mean? I don't know what's going on. I don't even know how they died because I'm so busy here with matters in Japan, but I'm keenly interested in that. Very, very interested. So I'm sorry I don't have more information.
Leader, or the AFD co-leader, Alice Weidel, is stoking speculation because he's reposting claims. This is statistically impossible. You're saying a lot of this is just like natural causes, but how did this many people on the same side of the political aisle all die within like 14 days of each other? And now they're having to scramble to invalidate some of the mail-in votes, the reprint ballots. It's just a big mess.
Something strange. I mean, this is it's way too big to be just written off as coincidence. If 2 died, I would say that's pretty significant. 7? Yeah. Now, who done it? I mean, I wish I were in Germany right now, actually. And eigentlich, ich spreche Deutsch. I lived in Germany for 4 years and been all over that country, and I would really want to hear what the Germans have to say about this. Of course, Germany is itself collapsing. Masako and I actually predicted that Nord Stream would be destroyed long before it did. We predicted that many times, very publicly. In fact, we had been at the BASF plant, a huge biggest chemical plant in the world, actually, at Ludwigshafen, Germany, 14 days before Nord Stream got destroyed. And we were there specifically about Nord Stream. In fact, and publishing about it, like we were saying, we think something's going to happen to Nord Stream. And then 14 days after our second trip to BASF, boom, something happened. It got blown up. And again, people ask me all the time, who destroyed Nord Stream? I'm like, well, that's easy. It was either United States or space aliens. That's about it. And it was clearly us. But even when you ask Germans, I've had educated Germans tell me they think the Russians did it. I mean, you can't even make up this stuff. Why would the Russians get? And meanwhile, the Russians are, they're about to start shipping a lot of their gas over to China. This will have severe effects on Europe, right? Severe effects. I mean, with the increased energy supply cost in Europe, of course, their manufacturing costs go up. And again, United States radiated information in advance that we were going to do something to Nord Stream. I mean, there were public statements by Biden and others. I think Trump made a statement as well. Actually, again, these things tend to radiate information. Another thing that I find quite interesting is the United States keeps saying we're concerned that Iran will close the Strait of Hormuz. Again, like with Nord Stream, why would Russia destroy Nord Stream? Why would Iran close the Strait of Hormuz? It doesn't make any sense. And why, if we thought that they were going to close the Strait of Hormuz, why do we leave their navy intact? Now, I wouldn't doubt if somebody closes the Strait of Hormuz and blames Iran for it, that would have significant impact on some of our partners like Saudi, Qatar, of course, Bahrain, Iraq, Iran, of course. They're not our partner, but so I mean, basically, every UAE, it would hit them all. I mean, everybody that uses the Strait of Hormuz, which is everybody in the catcher's mitt over there, right? And so that could be quite significant for Europe. In fact, Masako and I, we've got a game plan. If the Strait of Hormuz gets closed, we're going to stop everything we do and prepare for impact here in Japan. Because if it stays closed for any length of time, it's gonna have a serious effect here in Japan. It'll affect China as well. But keep in mind, China's got a railway that's open now all the way to Tehran, and they're continuing to build it. They're building railways everywhere I go. I mean, down in South America, Masako and I were just down in Argentina some months ago, and November and December of 2024, we went to the bioceanic corridor that they're building over there. I mean, we're looking at it everywhere we go. They've built a railway all the way from China, like Shanghai is one of the end points or beginning points, depending on which direction you're going. And another one is Rotterdam, right? So the railway goes all the way from Shanghai, from the Pacific, all the way to Rotterdam. Rotterdam is the biggest harbor and biggest port in Europe. And it also goes down into Spain. They're doing the same up in Thailand. In fact, we're about to fly back to Thailand when we leave here to look at China's progress on the railway. China is also building a canal from the Mekong River through Cambodia into the Gulf of Siam, the Gulf of Thailand, right? And that will have a significant impact as they build a ground corridor over what's called the Kra Isthmus in Thailand, so that they can connect the Gulf of Thailand with the Andaman Sea and bypass the Strait of Malacca. I'm sorry, I have maps in my head, so I can actually see the maps. So I have like a whole atlas in my head because I'm always looking at maps and
Yeah, I believe it. Well, thank you so much for the work that you're doing, Michael. And keep us updated on any major developments. I think we need to let you get back to sleep. I appreciate you staying up so that you could talk to us here today.
Thank you, Kristi. I really appreciate your having me on. Y'all have a good day.
You too. All right, coming up, we are going to be covering that really fiery RFK Jr. hearing. A quick reminder, though, join our editorial board. Send us the news tips and ideas that you want to hear about. We want you to be part of this process. You can send that to news@LindellTV.com. That's news@LindellTV.com. Also, join the conversation over there on Vocal, VOCL, Vocal. Better than X. You won't have shadow banning or weird algorithms, just free communication, which is Mike Lindell's mission. You can follow me over there at Kristi Leigh TV at vocal.com. All right, we're going to have a quick break, and we'll be back in a moment to cover some of the highlights, or you might call them lowlights, of this RFK Jr. Senate hearing when we return.
Welcome to Vocal, the free speech social app that gives you a platform to amplify your voice, speak freely, connect boldly, and be part of a growing movement for truth, faith, and freedom. Want to know what's happening right now? The Now Playing feature shows you exactly who's live and what's streaming in real time. Check out the show's feed, a non-stop lineup including LindellTV News 24/7, shows and on-demand programming all in one place. Connect with your favorite host and never miss a show. Explore the featured page for quick access to LindellTV's top shows. Follow your favorites and watch their newest content flow right into your feed. And when they go live on Vocal, you can join the live chat and be part of the action. Ask questions, share your thoughts, even help shape future shows. Stay informed on issues around securing our elections by following your state's Cause of America account. Join a group and connect on a deeper level, from faith and freedom to the future of our nation. Go to vocal.com or download the app today and be a part of the mission to save our country.
With everybody talking about making America healthy again, I thought today'd be a great day to talk to all my fellow patriots about the importance of making your homes healthy again. Well, we have proudly partnered with airwaterhealing.com and their revolutionary whole home air purification system. The V3 from Air Water Healing does 3,000 square feet of purification. It eliminates dust, mold, viruses, and odors. But here's the part I love. They require no filters to ever be changed and virtually no maintenance. Whether you suffer from asthma, allergies, seasonal bronchitis, or just want to protect your family from the flu or even greater threats, don't wait to get your V3 from airwaterhealing.com today. Use code Lindell for 20% off in savings and free shipping. That's promo code Lindell at airwaterhealing.com. Too many pharmacies and insurance companies are blocking the medications that actually work. That's why I recommend All Family Pharmacy. They give you access to treatments like ivermectin now, starting at just $2 a capsule. They also have methylene blue, hydroxychloroquine, and so much more. They're helping you stay prepared, and they've dropped their prices by 25%. Also use promo code Lindell10, you save even more. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Lindell. Use promo code Lindell10 and get the medicine you need. To celebrate our newest launch, Rev 7, I'm bringing you an amazing introductory offer, plus an exclusive overstock sale that you're not going to want to miss. Rev 7 is our premium energy drink that tastes great and gives you energy all day with no jitters and no crashes. That's because there's no sugar and no caffeine. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7 that for a limited time you can try our 3-pack absolutely free. Or check out our Percale bed sheets. I can't believe I'm even going to say this. Every color, every style, every size, only $29.88. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% on our Rev 7 12-packs or try our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. And our Percale bed sheets, all sizes, only $29.88, even the queens and kings. Inventory is extremely limited, so order now.
Bunch of shouting, finger pointing, and you know which side didn't make sense. But there was a lot of that going on before the RFK Jr. Senate hearing even began. Take a look at this.
I'm just curious to know your thoughts. You don't think the vaccines are causing harm? No.
No?
No.
No adverse reactions? Not a single one dead?
Saves lives. RFK kills.
We're going to die of polio.
Saves lives.
How many people are going to die of polio?
Yep, that's what I want.
How many people have died from the COVID shots?
RFK kills.
Way less than COVID, but we're going to be done.
RFK kills.
CDC saves lives. RFK kills.
Bah, they just all repeat the same thing. It seemed like the woman wearing, or I shouldn't assume her gender, I suppose, but the person that was wearing the green blazer there, it seemed like she was thinking, I'm not getting paid enough for this. You mean I have to try and think of a response? But this is classic what always happens. You get people that are all upset and they don't even know what they're upset about before because they can't put their arguments into words or respond to a challenge. What happened in the hearing was more protester nonsense. Watch this when a protester got kicked out.
Over 3 months to get a prior authorization. Senator Kennedy, do you know some people will die between those pre-authorizations? You're killing millions of people. Prior authorization takes too long for some people to be able.
And she seemed like the authority on what is healthy, right? She looked very healthy and would know what is good for people, right? Despite those interruptions and attacks, HHS Secretary Kennedy, he did hold his own. Watch this.
This morning, I got the latest numbers from CDC that 76.4% of Americans now have a chronic disease. This is stunning. When my uncle was president, it was 11%. 1950, it was 3%. Today, it's 76.4%. 8 out of 10 of our kids cannot qualify for military service. This is a national security issue. When my uncle was president, we spent 0 on chronic disease. Today, we spend $1.3 trillion. It's the biggest cause, and it's increasing. And all of the arguments that Republicans and Democrats have about single payer, Obamacare, or the various ways to allocate the health dollars, they're all like rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. If we don't end this chronic disease, we are the sickest country in the world. That's why we have to fire people at CDC. They did not do their job. This was their job to keep us healthy.
Thank you,
and I need to fire some of those people to make.
I don't see how you can argue with those points. It seems pretty straightforward. If you're failing at your job, if people are sicker than ever, then how are you saying it's RFK Jr. that's going to cost people's lives? No, you've already done that, and he's trying to rectify the situation. But the real point of this kangaroo court might be to sow division between RFK Jr. and President Trump, try and break them up. Watch as Senator Bill Cassidy tries to do just that.
Economy is an incredible accomplishment. Mr. Secretary, do you agree with me that the president deserves a Nobel Prize for Operation Warp Speed?
Yeah, absolutely, Senator. That was phenomenal.
Let me ask you, but you just told Senator Bennett that the COVID vaccine killed more people than COVID.
Wait,
that was a statement.
I did not say that.
Okay, then let me ask, because you also were
Senator, I just want to make clear, I did not say that.
We'll check the record. That's a question of fact. You also said that you were also, as lead attorney for the Children's Health Defense, you engaged in multiple lawsuits attempting to restrict access to the COVID vaccine. Again, it surprises me that you think so highly of Operation Warp Speed when, as an attorney, you attempted to restrict access.
Of course, it's straw man arguments, but Cassidy is just echoing Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla, who is clearly trying to suck up to President Trump. According to Stat News, Bourla is also someone who praised the vaccines as profound public health achievement that saved over 14 million lives, prevented economic collapse, and cut $1 trillion in health costs under Trump's Operation Warp Speed. And he has been suggesting that Trump deserve a Nobel Peace Prize for that. Now, unfortunately, we do know, we have several examples that Trump does seem to be susceptible to flattery. That's the only reason I can figure that he would remain close with somebody like Senator Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham usually kisses his behind, if you will. And that seems like the only reason that he would remain close with someone like that. So I think people have figured this out, that it pays to stroke Donald Trump's ego. And so you have Albert Bourla, the Pfizer CEO, being like, Trump deserves a Nobel Peace Prize because he's trying, in my opinion, to sow division between President Trump and RFK Jr., who is trying to appeal to Trump to see the damage that was done by these vaccines. But let's remember Albert Bourla for who he is, okay? Now, the previous article that you saw there on your screen was when Albert Bourla was saying that people who spread vaccine disinformation are criminals. There it is. He says people who spread vaccine disinformation are criminals. He wanted to round everybody up and jail them for daring to speak against the vaccines. Keep that in mind, Bourla, because when you said the COVID vax was 100% effective at preventing COVID and transmission, what were you doing? Spreading disinformation? Wouldn't that then, by your very own definition, make you a criminal? So how is that for a self-own? Hopefully, President Trump has the right people around him to warn him, look, this sleazy CEO is trying to kiss your rear end and don't fall for it, because this is a person that is guilty of crimes against humanity. But while RFK Jr. is in the hot seat, the real criminals like Albert Bourla and like Dr. Fauci, guilty of crimes against humanity, they still have not faced accountability. Senator Rand Paul is signaling that may be about to change. He says there's going to be a significant revelation about Anthony Fauci in the next week. Watch.
After you once again renewed a criminal referral for Anthony Fauci, this is something I've been talking about a lot, because I saw the smoking gun of him trying to get his colleagues to all say there's no way this was a lab-generated virus. And there's a very good reason for him to have done that after he knew full well that the United States had funded some gain of function research. And it was walking and quacking, and it had web feet, and everybody knew. And that was, I think that deserves who cares what I think. But what are the chances that he's held to account someday at this point?
A big question is the auto pen, whether auto pen pardons are constitutional or legal or lawful. We do know that when President Obama first signed a law by auto pen, when he came back from his trip to India, he quickly did sign it in person to make sure it was seen as being legitimate. So I think there is some question there. I can tell you that we are pouring through millions of bits of data on Anthony Fauci. There will be a subpoena in short fashion, and there also will be news in the next week or two about things that we have found from poring over the records. There's going to be significant revelation about Anthony Fauci in the next week.
In the next week. Can't come soon enough. Speaking of criminals trying to kill us, if it's not the shots, it's through food poison or fake food. We have a situation here where we're trying to get fake meat pushed upon us, and I'm here to say that I don't want California my Texas meat. I moved from California to Texas, and now they're trying to intrude on what can happen here. Two California companies, Upside Down, or I should say Upside Down, but it's actually called Epside Foods, and Wild Type, are suing Texas officials over a 2-year ban on lab-grown meat sales, calling it unconstitutional government overreach to shield traditional ranchers from competition. Our ranchers should be shielded and supported. According to the Texas Tribune, the lawsuit targets AG Ken Paxton and health agencies after Senate Bill 261 kicked in this week, sparked by fears of disrupting family farms and safety issues, even though the FDA and USDA have greenlit these products as safe. And before the ban, only one Austin sushi spot was selling cultivated salmon. That sounds really disgusting. Texas is the 7th state to slap on such a ban, and if it's lifted, these companies say they'd jump back in, but experts note the industry isn't ready for big-scale sales yet. There's not a huge demand for fake meat for some reason. So fake meat for humans and trying to force our carnivore pets into a vegan diet Can you believe this nonsense? Some so-called experts are pushing vegan diets on our poor doggies, claiming plant-based grub packs the same punch as good old meat. Sure, like your furball's going to thrive on a bowl of kale and tofu instead of juicy steak. I mean, let's be honest. Pet food is horrible 9 times out of 10 anyways, but now you're going to just try and take any semblance of nutritional value. According to the Daily Mail, the University of Nottingham study says dogs are omnivores who just need the right nutrients. But come on, they're descended from wolves, not rabbits. What's next? Cats going gluten-free? Give me a break. And stick to the beef, people. Let your dog be a dog. Coming up, we are going to cover some big economic news, some that kind of fell under the radar. But first, we're going to take a quick break, and I'll be right back.
Are you taking advantage of President Trump's golden age? Or what if I told you you can just sit back and earn money as President Trump continues to repair our economy and make America energy independent again? I'm talking about oil royalty checks. With the help of the Oxford Club, thousands of Americans have unlocked this secret hack that has put money back in hardworking American pockets. Financial expert and LindellTV supporter Mark Lichtenfield has showed me how. It's a way to profit from America's energy production that's been working quietly for decades, even when oil companies were struggling. So go to LindellOilBoom.com to find out how this all works and why it's relevant right now. That's LindellOilBoom.com. Whether it's being a weekend warrior or spending time with your family, feeling your best is the key to doing the things you love. That's why I'm excited to tell you about Nirvanta. It's a natural solution designed to help you stay active and live well naturally. Nirvanta is a topical blend of all natural essential oils like frankincense, myrrh, and a proprietary gold standard plant stock extract. It's perfect for your hands, feet, knees, back, or anywhere else that needs a little extra care. Use Nirvanta proactively as part of your daily maintenance routine, and you're guaranteed you're going to feel the difference. Simply massage Nirvanta in for at least 60 seconds, 2 to 3 times a day to get the best results. And if you're not completely satisfied, you get your money back. No questions asked. There's simply no risk and no reason not to try Nirvanta today. Right now, you get 15% off with code Lindell exclusively at NirvantaHealth.com. So stop reaching out for that medicine cabinet. Get Nirvanta instead and experience the difference. Go to NirvantaHealth.com. Use code Lindell to get 15% off today. Nirvanta Health. Live well naturally. If you want to drop extra pounds, boost energy levels, and reduce swelling in your legs and feet, then this message is for you. Pure Health Research is on a mission to make America healthy again. And 2 of their best-selling health supplements are leading the way. First is Liver Health Formula. Over 100 million Americans have a sluggish liver that's riddled with fatty deposits. This can kill your metabolism, pile on the pounds, and make you feel tired. Liver Health Formula takes care of that. It supports thriving liver health with special nutrients like artichoke extract and milk thistle. This is one of the easiest ways to slim down and revitalize your energy levels. Next is lymph system support. If you struggle with fluid buildup or swelling in your legs, ankles, and feet, this is for you. The natural ingredients in lymph system support help gently flush away extra fluid and toxins out of your body. And right now, for a limited time, you get 35% off Liver Health Formula and Lymph System Support, along with 50 plus other health supplements that Pure Health Research has to offer. So head over to purehealthresearch.com and use promo code Lindell at checkout. That's purehealthresearch.com, promo code Lindell to save 35% on your order today.
Turning now to the economy, let's talk sense and sensibility. Now, here's an economic win that is not getting enough attention. President Trump just unleashed a historic pocket rescission package, the first in 50 years, slashing a whopping nearly $5 billion in what they call woke, weaponized, and wasteful spending on foreign aid and international organizations. According to the White House briefing statement, the America First sweep targets stuff like USAID's $3.2 billion for climate hoaxes and DEI nonsense, plus hundreds of millions for UN peacekeeping riddled with abuse and slush funds that don't serve U.S. interests, saving taxpayers big bucks by ditching projects like baking classes in Zimbabwe and LGBTQ pushes abroad. It's all about cutting the fat and putting America back on top. Now, this is something that they'd been talking about, this administration been talking about for a long time, is the use of these pocket rescissions. And it's kind of like this one flew under the radar, but we want more. So bring on more cuts of the wasteful spending. And then we have this Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent recently dropped a bombshell in an interview saying the Trump administration might declare a national housing emergency this fall to tackle sky-high home prices. That sounds like music to a lot of people's ears. And affordability woes that are hitting working class families hard, especially with those midterms looming. They're eyeing bold moves like suspending some building codes and environmental regulations to boost supply, standardizing local zoning, cutting closing costs, and even tariff exemptions on materials, all while respecting state and local governments. Plus, plans to boot illegal aliens from federal housing aid to free up stock tied to bigger economic wins like no tax on tips refunds. And predicted boom in 2026 could be a game changer for making home ownership great again, and it would be long overdue. And now we are diving into a massive trade showdown. President Trump's urgently asking the Supreme Court to fast track his appeal and save his huge tariffs after lower courts ruled he overstepped his authority by slapping them on imports under a national emergency claim. According to CNBC, the federal appeals court shot down the move 7-4, saying tariffs are strictly Congress's power, and delaying a ruling could cause chaos out of $750 billion to $1 trillion in already collected funds while hurting U.S. diplomacy and security. But if he's asking the Supreme Court to take up this case, it would seem that would indicate he feels pretty confidently that the Constitution, the law, is on his side. Now, the markets have been getting hit a bit lately, but today they look pretty darn good. We're back in the green. So much market action is emotional, and you know what? I think it is a bit manipulated because when you have most of the news, the legacy media news, putting a negative spin on every economic move that this administration makes, the markets are emotional. They usually react to how investors are feeling. So if you're manipulating investors' feelings, then chances are we're going to see some of that in the market. But despite all that, despite their best efforts, looks like things are coming back up today. And in case you missed it, there are ways that you can diversify, true diversification. If you have a pie chart in your stock portfolio and look, I have all these different mutual funds and different stocks. Well, you're not truly diversified. I hate to break it to you because all that's wrapped up in the market. If the market crashes, everything goes down. So you need true diversification. You need different kinds of investments, some that are outside of the market. And so here's something you can do that helps support this network and also your pocketbook. And it's great for this administration. It is an ultimate passive income play to invest in energy. You go to KristiOilBoom.com. That's KristiOilBoom.com to learn more. But this helps you get in on that action of Trump wanting to unleash American energy. And it's with our friends over at the Oxford Club who have been doing this for decades and decades now. All right, I'm going to cover election security in the time that I have remaining. But first, again, another way that you can support LindellTV is doing some shopping. And you can go to mypillow.com and, it's back to school season. I have school kid drop-offs and those slippers, they're perfect. You can wear them inside the house. You can wear them outside the house. They're cozy and they're cute. And of course, the towels, the classic pillows. There's so many different products on here. I recently splurged for my son and got him the necklace, the My Cross for him. He wanted a cross necklace, and I'm like, you know what? You're back to school. If you want to have a way to share your faith, then sure, I'll get you the my cross necklace. So all different kinds of products there. Do some shopping, use promo code KL, and you can save on your order. All right, not too much time left, but I will cover what I can in election security. We're diving into a big win for election integrity. The Honest Elections Project new report highlights how 8 states banned foreign funding and ballot campaigns this year, bringing the total to 9, while 6 states outlawed ranked choice voting, pushing that count to 17 since 2022. According to the Center Square, Executive Director Jason Sneed calls it a banner year, slamming liberal attorney Mark Elias for losing court challenges in Ohio and Kansas over these bans, and pointing out massive foreign cash like $280 million from Swiss billionaire Hans-Georg Weiss falling into liberal groups to sway U.S. elections, with more states like Florida and Michigan potentially jumping on board in 2026. This could reshape how we protect our democratic republic from outside meddling. And a bombshell from Missouri, Trump's DOJ is pushing to access and possibly seize voting machines from the 2020 election in 2 rural counties, Jasper and McDonald, where Trump won big. According to the Gateway Pundit, county clerks like Charlie Davis and Jessica Cole got calls from DOJ official Andrew Mac Warner to inspect the equipment, but one says they've already replaced theirs, and this ties into Trump's ongoing crusade for election integrity amid redistricting pushes. It's echoing similar attempts in Colorado, so stay tuned as we watch how this plays out in the fight over America's voting systems. And with that, I am just about out of time. I want to make sure that you follow and stay right here so you can watch the show that follows, Vanessa Broussard Spin Room. I know she has even more news on some big election security efforts, and we have more incredible video and sound coming out of that hearing today with RFK Jr. So don't miss our next show, Spin Room with Vanessa Broussard. But that's it for me on DC Dispatch. I hope you'll join me tomorrow. Thanks for watching.
Welcome to Vocal.